your wants based on the emotions and thoughts that you feel are probably not what you really want in life, okay? If you base your wants out of the values that you have for yourself, then you'll find the real wants, what you really want in your life. Hey bestie, so have you ever actually thought about who you actually are, okay? Because a lot of people say that, you know, you're not your thoughts, you're not your habits, you're not your actions, you're not your emotions. So then if you're not all of that, then what are you? Who even are you? How should you even base your identity, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today, right? And I spent so long, you know, just searching and like trying to understand what this was because I couldn't fathom what it even meant, right? I was like, if you're not your thoughts or your emotions, then who actually are you? And I really just couldn't understand when people like talked about like, oh, you're like the deeper conscious. And I'm like, that doesn't even make sense to me, right? And so I spent a lot of time thinking about this and trying to understand and create my own idea of who you actually are and how you should actually base your identity, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today, right? Who actually are we? And what can we do to understand ourselves better? So it's commonly said, you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions. So let's tackle this really quickly, okay? What are we actually? It's like, yes, I feel emotions, I think thoughts, okay? But who is actually I, right? Who is actually the I that is thinking the thoughts, that is feeling the emotions? Who is I? What is I, right? Oh my god, this sounds like a mystical ass topic, but like philosophical, right? It kind of is philosophical, right? Like it's a really weird concept to think about, right? Like if you aren't the thoughts that you feel, or if you aren't the emotions that you feel, then what is actually you? If everyone can think thoughts, if everyone can feel emotions, how does that differentiate you from everyone else? Everyone says like, you're unique, bestie, you know? Like they all say that, right? But what makes me unique from another person? Okay, if we can all think thoughts, if we can all feel emotions, if we can all do things, what makes me different from you? Because our emotions come and go on a daily basis. I know for me, my emotions, my thoughts change day to day, minute to minute, okay? Like 1 second I can be feeling happy, the next second I'm like so sad because like I'm stressed about my midterms or something, right? Like if your emotions change so quickly, if your thoughts change so quickly on a day-to-day basis, on a minute-by-minute basis, right? Then how are you supposed to actually base your identity off of something that is so fleeting, something that can change any moment, right? And so that's what those people were trying to get to here, right? Like, they like talk about like detaching yourself from your thoughts and stuff, right? I never could really understand that, not gonna lie. It's really about understanding that these things come and go. Your emotions come and go, your thoughts come and go, but what is actually you? What is the thing that is with you that is staying constant, okay? Like if all these things are changing, what is constant? What is staying? What is staying the same from month to month, maybe year to year, right? What is staying constant through your life? And that's what we're trying to understand here, right? And this is actually what caught me off guard. Like all this stuff was true. This is why it took me so long to understand who I actually am, who you actually are. And so that's why I took the time to understand and truly just become aware of, you know, what this is actually trying to tell me, right? And so finally, literally a couple days ago, I finally understood. I just finally created an answer that I was satisfied with. I think it's a valid answer. So that's why I'm sharing with y'all in hopes that maybe like if you have the same like thought process, you know, like maybe I could help you in discovering what it means to you, what you mean to yourself. Oftentimes, it's also included that we're not our actions, but I believe this to be kind of false because our actions are usually influenced by our values and belief systems, okay? And they influence each other, okay? So the core message of this whole video is that you are your values and your belief systems. That's what I figured out when I started to ask myself, what are the things that remain constant through my life, okay? It's not my emotions, they change on a daily basis, okay? It's not my thoughts, they also change on a daily basis, okay? It's not my actions, which also kind of fluctuate week by week, okay? It's my values. My values are pretty consistent, I'd say, on a month-by-month basis, okay? And this actually made a lot of sense to me, right? A lot of people say that, you know, if you try to do habits that are kind of different for you, that are going against the belief system that you have, it's gonna be harder to implement those habits for you, right? I wanted to give an example from my personal life, right? So let's look back like 6 months ago, okay? Like back in February, I was not a social person, okay? Like I don't even think I could like strike up a conversation with a random person, okay? Because I had the internal belief that I'm just not a sociable person, that like I'm just an introvert, you know? Like I don't have to go and talk to people, you know? Like it's fine, right? But that belief reflects a value that was like, you don't value forming connections with other people enough, right? And so when I realized that that's what this belief was saying about this value that I had, right? It kind of was just like, I gotta change this, because I actually do want to value the connections that I make with other people and the network that I form. So that means I gotta start taking the habits that actually support that value, right? And so it took me a long time, right, to actually start going out and talking to people. And I'm still like, when I go and talk to people, right, I still get very like anxious and stuff. But it's been getting better. Like I've been actually going out and talking to people, talking to new people, and just putting myself out there. You know, I used to not know what that meant, you know, because I'm like, what does it mean to put yourself out there? You know, like that doesn't even make any sense. Another thing that didn't make any sense, right? And it's just like, you have to go out of your way to talk to people. And that's what that meant, right? And now I finally understand that, right? Once you understand what this habit was saying about your beliefs and what this belief was saying about what you value and don't value, then you can take steps to actually change that value that you have, to actually change it to a value that you actually believe in, okay? Because sometimes when we don't know what we value, we kind of just like do whatever we want, okay? So like that's basically what I was doing. Like I didn't know that I wanted to value making connections with other people, right? I didn't know that that's what I wanted to value in my life, right? I knew it kind of like in the air, right? It wasn't like really concrete. Like I knew that when I wanted to go travel, I'd have to go and talk with strangers if I wanted to make it a great experience, right? I already knew that I had to become more of a social person, right? But I didn't know that not going out of my way and talking to people right now meant that I didn't value talking and creating a proper network as much. I didn't care about it as much as I thought I did, right? And when I realized it, that's when I actually started to take action and actually started to talk to other people, right? And so the thing with this is that after you do the action, right? So after I talk to someone, right? I reaffirm that action with positive belief, right? So what I do is I go out and talk to a person, you know, we chat and then whatever. After that interaction, I tell myself that I'm a social person, right? So that means I've created a new identity for myself. Each time I do this new action, I'm reaffirming that identity with this belief, with this, and then slowly with this belief, I can create that value from within, that I actually do value making connections and interacting with other people, right? And so that was just an example from my life, right? It's really hard at the beginning because I had the value that, you know, maybe I didn't care about talking to other people as much as I did, and I didn't believe that I was a social person, which held me back from actually talking to other people. So that's why it's really hard to change the habits that are so ingrained with you and that are so ingrained with your values. The strongest force in the human personality is the need to stay consistent with how we define ourselves. It's all really just a circle. It's like, it's this thing. At the core is your values, then it's your beliefs, then it's your thoughts and your emotions, and then your habits and what you do on a daily basis, okay? It's all connected. It's all intertwined, but at the very core is your values, okay? The things outside your values can change probably week by week, month by month, day by day, minute by minute, but your values are something that stays the same. It's like a pillar, okay? Like in an earthquake, these pillars stay standing, okay? If everything around them is rubble, everything is changing, everything is, you know, different, the thing that's standing strong is a pillar. So your beliefs and values are much deeper than your thoughts and emotions because of how quickly your thoughts and emotions can change. Also, another phrase that really just made me so confused was the phrase, oh, do things that align with your higher self. I'm like, what does that even mean? I was so confused by it. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense, right? Like, who even is the higher self? What does the higher self, like, what? I was just so confused. Like, what even is this, right? But now I'm starting to kind of understand, right? That This higher self, at its core, it means to take actions that align with your values. And your values are on a much deeper level than your beliefs, okay? There are a lot of things that you may not want to do in the moment, but they are things that align with your values, okay? So take, for example, my cold showers, okay? Sometimes I don't want to do these cold showers, okay? I'm like literally like procrastinating on this cold shower for so long and like not even doing it right. But I know I do it anyways. I do it anyways because I know that this action aligns with my value. And I can also say the converse, okay? I could say that, oh, maybe, yeah, I want to go like out partying one day, you know, and like seeing what it's like. Like, I could say all that, right? But I know that that action doesn't align with my values. Like, if I value myself, then going out and partying and like doing all that stuff is going to be against my values. So why should I do something like that? It's simple, okay? Like, sure, I might want to do it, right? But does that mean I'm actually going to do it, right? You can have all these wants, right? And you can have all these unwants, like things that you don't want to do, but you know you have to do them because they align with your values. That's why they say is that you have to take actions that align with your higher self, okay? Sometimes these actions are things you probably don't even want to do, okay? But you know that they're things that you have to do regardless because they're things that are gonna align with your values, right? So you really have to just think about that, right? That's why they say you have to think before you do, right? You have to think, does this action actually align with my values, right? It's not about, oh, do I actually want to do this? You know, like this and that. It's about, does this action that I'm taking actually align with the values that I have in myself, right? And that's what they mean by doing things that align with your higher self, right? Doing things that align with your values, right? Because if you do things that are out of line with your values, then I doubt that you're actually going to live a life that you're actually fulfilled by, right? And that's the other thing I want to get into. It's how do you actually define your most fulfilling life, right? So what does your best day ever look like? If you had to stick to your current routine, what would your best day ever look like? Literally recently, I figured out that it's things that are aligned with my values, okay? Even if I had to keep the same routine and do like university, right, for the next 3-4 years, if I can take actions that are aligned with my values, then that'll become the best day ever, okay? If I suddenly just become unproductive, unaligned with my values, start doing whatever I want, right? I'm gonna be very unfulfilled throughout this university journey, right? So that's why it's really just, you have to define for yourself what it means to live a fulfilling life. And for me, I've decided that it's things that align with my values, right? And so maybe this might be the same definition for you. And I believe that this definition is pretty like unanimous, okay? And like you can take this definition for yourself and see how this works for you, okay? But like what is working for me, as I said, might not work for you. Okay, so you really just have to test, try out, and understand and become aware of how you're actually reacting to these new things, okay? So actually, what can you do starting off today to actually take actions that are aligned with your values, okay? Well, first of all, you have to actually define your values, okay? If you don't know what your values are, then how are you supposed to take actions that actually go with your values, right? So take a few days, take a few weeks, take a month even, to define, understand, and become aware of what your values actually are. And not gonna lie, this took me a long time to do, okay? Because every time I ask myself, oh, what are my values, you know? I'm like, I don't even know. Like, what does that even mean? What does it mean to have values? And what does it mean to do things that are aligned with your values? And I just didn't know what it meant. I just didn't understand it, right? So you have to take a few, like, weeks, few months even, just to, like, understand yourself a bit more, right? And this is what they say, like, you have to find yourself, right? You have to find what you actually value in life. And once you start taking things that are aligned with your values, you'll find that you'll have a more fulfilling life. Your life will actually become more enjoyable. It was a really frustrating time to just not know what my values are. I'm like, what am I even doing all this for, right? If I didn't know my values, then I didn't have a reason to be doing anything, right? So that's why it's just like you have to understand yourself and understand your values and understand what you stand for. You have to peel the layers of the onion, right? Since your values are at the core, you have to start from the outermost layer, okay? Become aware of the habits that you're taking, okay? Not just the things that you want to do, like literally, what are the things that you're doing on a daily basis and how are they possibly benefiting you or not benefiting you, right? You have to become aware of what these habits are, right? And then peel that layer, okay? The next layer is your emotions and your thoughts, okay? What are you thinking and what are you feeling on a daily basis, okay? You have to become aware. And the core of this is just to become aware of what you're doing throughout the day, okay? If you're unsure of what your values are, you have to become aware of what you're actually doing throughout the day, because your habits, your thoughts, they all reflect your values. They might not be a direct correlation, right? And you might even get the converse, but they have a reflection of what you're valuing right in this moment. You have to pick things up like this. Like, I know it's not an easy thing. It's actually a really hard thing to become aware of what you're actually doing throughout the day. And it's not easy, right? So that's why I'm suggesting you take a few months to just become aware of what you're doing, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, right? And then that can reflect something about your beliefs. And these beliefs reflect stuff about what you value and what you don't value. And slowly after that, you can move on to the next step, which is redefining your values, okay? If you want to grow as a person, then you actually have to find the values that are not serving you anymore, okay? Because if you just kept along the same values throughout your whole life, okay? I'm not talking about like a day-by-day basis. I'm not telling you to change your values on a day-by-day basis. I'm talking on like a year-by-year basis, okay? If you want to grow as a person, then you have to take away the values that do not supporting the person that you want to become. Like, actually, if you want to grow as a person, first of all, you have to redefine or define your values, you know? Understand what you stand for, understand what you truly want in your life, okay? Because I feel like your values signify what you truly want, okay? Your wants on the surface level, your wants based on the emotions and thoughts that you feel, are probably not what you really want in life, okay? If you base your wants out of the values that you have for yourself, then you'll find the real wants, what you really want in your life. And so after you've defined those values and redefined any new and old ones, identify what habits the people that have that value do on a daily basis, right? So that's the second thing, is to know what habits to implement in your life to cultivate that value from within. And after you've done that habit, right after you've taken that action of trying to reconstruct your values, you have to reaffirm your habit with a belief. If I go for a run right now, I'm gonna say I'm a pretty strong and active person, okay, right? You have to reaffirm this belief that is connected to this new habit. Because when you reaffirm a new belief, you're letting your old beliefs fail you, okay? And this is the best way to find out and get rid of what your limiting beliefs are, okay? Is to let your old beliefs fail you. Let them fail you so that you know that these new beliefs are right for you. Third thing is to just rinse and repeat this many, many times, okay? Take this action, reaffirm it with positive belief, do it again, okay? Build it so that you can cultivate this value from within, okay? And the last step is to be influenced positively, okay? This is kind of a big thing because, like, what we let into our inner circle influences a lot of who we are, right? Because if our emotions, if our thoughts are so dependent on what is going around us, on the gossip, on the work, on the school, on everything, on the weather even, okay? Then you have to become aware of what you're letting in your circle of, like, in your personal circle, okay? If you're just letting whatever in your circle, you're gonna become influenced by it, okay? And it's not about, you know, the people that are closest to you, right? It's about the videos that you're consuming. It's about the things that you're doing on a daily basis. It's the people that you're hanging around, okay? You have to become aware of what you're allowing in your inner circle. And this inner circle should be a very protected area because this is where things have the most influence, right? And because they have the most influence, they influence your emotions, then they influence your thoughts, then they influence your beliefs, and then they influence your values, okay? So you have to make sure that what you have around you isn't something that's made for your downfall, right? So yeah, that's basically it, right? Basically what I covered today is that you are your values, okay? Don't base your identity off of your emotions, thoughts, and habits, because they are so fluctuating on a day-to-day basis. Your values are consistent throughout the months and the years, okay? Second thing is take actions that align with your higher self. And this means to take actions that are aligned with your values. And then the third thing is to define what your fulfilling life means to you, right? And then the steps to get there is to 1, redefine and define your values. Number 2, identify habits. Number 3 is to reaffirm your habits with positive beliefs. And number 4 is to get influenced in the right way, right? And just be mindful that this isn't gonna become an instantaneous process, okay? Just look at how long it takes you to change your habits, okay? Do you think you changed your habits within 2 days? No, it took you way longer than that to change your habits, okay? If it's gonna take that long to change the outermost shell of this onion, then it's gonna take way longer to deconstruct and reconstruct your values, okay? And I mean, like, they're all pretty intertwined. Once you start working on something, it'll affect the other one, right? But you have to start somewhere. And the easiest way to start is definitely with your habits, okay? It's like your habits, the things that you do influence your thoughts, and the things that you surround yourself with also influence your thoughts, okay? And these thoughts influence your beliefs, and these beliefs influence your values. And that's really all for this video. If you learned something, let me know, okay? I really hope that you found something valuable out of this video, okay? I'm Krisha, and I will see you next week.